Hey everyone, this is Pete, and welcome back to Atari A to Z Flashback, a series of explorations of the 150 games that make up Atari Flashback Classics for Nintendo Switch. Today's game is not one I've been looking forward to, I must confess, but it's part of the collection and it's historically significant, so we'll take a look at it anyway. The game in question is Basic Math, also known as Fun with Numbers. This was a 1977 release and part of the 2600's launch lineup, if you can believe that. Think of launch lineups today and look back at the Atari 2600 and there we've got Basic Math. Anyway, so this was developed by a guy called Gary Palmer. He worked at Atari for a little while and didn't appear to do very much besides this game and maybe one or two other mathematics related pieces of software. He would subsequently go on to play a role in the development of the operating system for the Atari 400 and 800 computers though, so evidently game development wasn't really for him, but sort of the development of making the computers work was very much something that he found a talent for, I guess. As you may have already figured out by what I've said already, this game is not particularly well loved, wasn't particularly well loved back in the day, and is not particularly well loved today either. The reason for that is simply because of how basic it is. I mean, the clue's in the name. It's called Basic Math, and it really is basic. So, when reviewed by the American Consumer Electronics magazine Video in 1979, the magazine described it as very basic, and that the controls of this game may be a little more complicated than the actual problems. And it's scored 5 out of 10, thereby proving that video game scoring systems have been broken since 1979. Personally, I absolutely hated maths at school, and I somehow doubt having this game in my collection would have changed my outlook on the subject significantly. But, you know, I'm willing to give it a chance. That's part of what this series is all about, trying stuff I might not have otherwise tried before. So let's go play Basic Math. Okay, welcome back to Atari Flashback Classics, where today we're having a look at truly the highlight of the 2600's launch lineup, Basic Math. No, I mean, it's easy to be cynical about this game because, well, it's very basic maths. But what you have to remember is, back in the late 70s, the sort of novelty value of having something that was vaguely educational connected to your television, that was big and new. I don't know how exciting this was for families back in the day, but I can imagine if they'd got hold of this supposed games machine and they'd seen that there was some sort of educational value to it, yeah, that would have really helped the 2600 find its way into a few households. But anyway, I'm going to give this a chance. I'm going to give it a chance. It's only fair. It's part of this collection. It's part of the launch lineup. It's historically significant. So yeah, we'll give it a chance. Let's take a look at the manual first of all. I do just want to highlight the horrifying cover art, which I have no idea what is going on there, and it's really blurry in this scan as well. You'll also notice that the version in the manual is called Fun with Numbers. I'm not entirely sure what the differences were, whether Basic Math was in one territory and Fun with Numbers was another one, or if it was just two different releases of them offhand, but yeah, it is known as both of those things. It was probably different releases from the look of things, or perhaps it was a Sears Telegames sort of situation. But anyway, yeah, that cover art is pretty horrifying. It's obviously supposed to be based on like fairy tales or something, but it has absolutely nothing to do with what we're about to experience. So here we are. Controller action. They don't even attempt to like give this a story or a setup or anything. It's just a program about doing maths. So use the joystick to make numbers appear on the blackboard screen. Push the joystick forward to cycle through numbers from 0 to 9. Push it towards you to make the numbers appear in decreasing order from 9 to 0. I love these old descriptions where they talk about pushing it forward and pulling it toward you, rather than just pushing up and down as we tend to say today. It's oddly quaint and charming. So yeah. The red controller button records your numbers with the computer teacher. Press the button after you've selected answers to the math problem and after you choose problem numbers. Now, this game makes use of the difficulty switches, so you can set difficulty switch the difficulty switch on the right to A position if you want to play with a time limit, and to B position if you don't want to play with the time limit. And use the left difficulty switch to choose whether you have 12 or 24 seconds. And then on games 5 to 8 in A position, 2-digit problems appear with a 24-second time limit. 1-digit problems with a 12-second time limit appear when the switch is in B position. So yeah, the difficulty is slightly different in that one. So in A position, A for I think it's B for beginner, A for advanced. Let's say you remember it. In the A position, it's harder, so it gives you 2-digit problems with longer to solve them, or 1-digit problems with less time to solve them. So each game presents 10 math problems. You score 1 point for each correct answer. At the end of each game, 2 numbers flash on the screen. The number of total problems, 10, is on the right-hand side, and your score is on the left side. Each game features a particular type of math problem. So yeah, there's 2 main modes to this game. There's table problems, which is where you choose a number to focus on, and then there's random problems where it just sort of picks from random numbers basically to choose from, but you only ever focus on addition, subtraction, multiplication or division at once. You don't do all of them at the same time. So you just do 10 questions of one, and then you reset and you try something else, or you try the same thing again, and so on. So that's about it. So let's take a look. Alright, so if we flip through the available games, you can see you've got table, addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Then we've got random addition, random subtraction, random multiplication and random division. And that's it. So 8 different choices to choose from. 4 of the table ones, and then 4 of the random ones. So let's just start with a simple random one. Now the difficulty switches, if you remember, you can set the right difficulty switch to add a time limit, and you can set the left difficulty switch to determine how long that time limit is. I'm going to leave that off for now because I'm crap at maths, and I don't really want to humiliate myself too much. But let's have a go. So, game reset. So first thing you do is you set what number you want to focus on. So for simplicity's sake, let's just say 1. So we say 1 and press the button. 1 plus 2 is obviously 3. So it plays us a little tune to say that we got it right. 1 plus 6 is obviously 7. Now if you get one wrong, this happens. It still plays quite a little happy little tune, so it's not anything sort of aggressive or demoralising or anything, which is quite important when you're dealing with a subject like maths. Because I remember when I was at primary school, I grew to hate maths because I hated getting things wrong. Because getting things wrong and getting a little red cross by your work and that sort of thing, I always found that incredibly demoralising. So, yeah, it's good that this game keeps it cheerful. It tells you what the correct answer is, and just enables you to go about your business. I like the sort of little musical thing where sort of the pitch changes according to what number it is. So the higher the number, the higher the note. Oh, okay, so it's moving on to 2s now. So 2 plus 2 is 4. There we are, 9 out of 10. Not bad. And that was just because I got one deliberately wrong. It's not because I didn't know what 1 plus 9 was. Right, so we can then game select again. Let's try some multiplication. Let's try it with a time limit. So we put the right difficulty to A. So leave the left difficulty on B. So we've got 24 seconds to play with. Game reset. Again, we choose the number we want to work with. I always find this a little bit confusing because you're setting the top number rather than the bottom number, and I'm more used to sort of thinking about the bottom number on a mathematics problem as being the important one. So you can only get up to 9s in this, you can't do 10s to focus on. So again, for simplicity's sake, let's do 5s, because I suck. Alright, so 5 times 6, and you can hear the ticking in the background showing that we've got a time limit. It doesn't actually show you on the screen how long you've got, but it does get faster to give a sort of sense of pressure to it all. And you see that you put in your two-digit numbers by moving left and right to choose a digit. And then moving up and down to set what the number in that slot is. So you can set either number first, and it doesn't take your answer until you press the button. Okay, now after a few problems, if you've been getting them right, it then moves on to the next main number. So 6 times 9 is... what is it? That's not right. That's 7 times 9, isn't it? There we are, 9 times 10. It actually specifically warns you in the manual. In fact, let's go back and take a look in the manual. If you look here... There's a note up at the top. You will sometimes find that there will be less than 10 problems with the top number you've selected. When this occurs, the game automatically selects problems from the next number group. Now, I'm not sure how it determines when it runs out of problems. But yeah, I mean, we've seen that happen twice now. So there weren't 10 questions with the number we chose. It moved on to the next one. All right, let's continue. So let's have a go at one of the random ones. So let's go for random edition. Let's set right difficulty to A, and let's set left difficulty to A as well, so we get the two-digit problems. So now we don't choose the top number, and it's just going to give us random math problems with a 24-second time limit on each one. So off we go. 1 plus 1. Start as you mean to go on. 73 plus 45. And 7 plus 4 is... Oh no, that's... Told you I was shit at maths. Right, anyway. 8 plus 0 is 8. 7 plus 1 is 8. Therefore, this is 88. 1 plus 1 is 2. 9 plus 7 is 16. 3 plus 2 is 5. 9 plus 3 is 12. I'll tell you what I was doing. I was thinking I was doing subtraction, and I was going to do stuff with the units, and that's clearly not what I needed to do, was it? So 7 plus 0 is 7. 2 plus 1 is 3. 37. 4 plus 6 is 10. And then 4 plus 3 is 7. Plus 1 is 8. 9 plus 7 is 16, and 6 plus 5 is 11, plus 1 is 12. 1 plus 0 is 1, 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 plus 0. 9 plus 4, 13. There we go. Not too bad, after I remembered how to do addition. So, you get the idea. This is how this works. And then you can try it on any of the other different challenge levels as well. I'm not going to do division because I honestly really can't remember how to do anything like long division or anything like that. But yeah, you get the basic idea. In fact, let's do a table division one. Again, right difficulty is on A, left difficulty is on B. So I give myself a bit more time. We'll go game reset, and I'll just put 2s on the top. So we just have to halve everything. There we go. You see, this is what I'm saying. I feel like those are the wrong way round. So 2 divided by 1. That should be 1 divided by 2, really. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 3 divided by 3 is also 1. 3 divided by 1 is 3. Now, 3 divided by 2, that would be 1 remainder 1, wouldn't it? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so if you have a remainder in division questions, you go and use this digit over here to do that. 4 divided by 4, 1. 4 divided by 3, again, 1 remainder 1. 4 divided by 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 5 divided by 3. Okay, so that's 1 remainder 2? Yes. Oh, God. Yeah, I can vaguely remember. You know what? I'm not having a terrible time with this. It's sort of engaging my brain a bit, which is all you really want from a maths program, isn't it? I mean, you think back to stuff like brain training on the Nintendo DS. That hurled a bunch of math problems at you, and that was actually surprisingly fun. So, you know, maybe this isn't as much of a joke as I thought it was. I mean, it is obviously incredibly basic and simple, but you know what? It does what it needs to. It presents you with questions. It tells you whether you got them right or wrong. It tells you what the right answer is if you did get them wrong. And it provides you with the opportunity to practice lots of different types of skills. So again, let's try one more. Let's just try a random multiplication. Why not? 7 times 2. 4 times 1. 7 times... I should have left the time limit on, shouldn't I? 7 times 4. 2 times 2 is 4. Now, obviously, there's some limitations in this. The main one being that there's obviously a hard limit to how high the numbers will go. Whether that's down to, like, hardware limitations or... whether that's sort of hardware limitations of the 2600 itself, or if it's just a deliberate stylistic choice to be a bit more simple. But if it's the latter, it might have been nice to sort of have the option to make it even more advanced for older children and that sort of thing. Maybe get some like long multiplication and division in there as well. But as it stands, it does the job. I'll tell you what, the noise it makes when you press the fire button is a little bit disconcerting, because it's a sort of tone that sounds almost like you got it wrong. Like a sort of low tone is associated with getting things wrong, so I don't know, maybe that could have been a little bit different. But you know, no, that's not terrible. That's not a terrible game. I mean, it's probably not something you'd choose to sit down and spend a lot of time with if you had the choice between all of the other stuff on this collection. But if you've got a family, if you've got young kids, or if you just wanted to brush up on your own basic math skills, maybe you've got a numeracy test coming up for a job interview or something like that, or if you just wanted to exercise your brain for 5 or 10 minutes or so, that's a perfectly functional, solid piece of software. I'm actually a little bit surprised at that, but you know, it always pays to give things a chance. Like, even if you're sort of latching on to popular opinion that they're rubbish or whatever, it always pays to give things a chance, because sometimes you might end up quite pleasantly surprised by how much you enjoy something. Anyway, I think we'll leave that there for today. That was basic math for the Atari 2600. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please help out the channel by leaving a like or a comment and subscribing. New episodes of Atari A to Z are on Tuesdays and Atari ST A to Z on Thursdays. Check out atariatoz.wordpress.com for a full archive. Do please also check out my other projects, moegamer.net, where I explore Japanese and Japanese-inspired games from yesterday and today, and videopackgames.wordpress.com, which aims to catalogue the small but well-formed library of the Philips G7000 Videopack computer, also known as the Magnavox Odyssey 2. You can also support my work on Patreon or buy me a coffee. You can find links to do both down in the video description. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.